Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Burgundy and Gold Knuckleheads podcast. As always, you know who's over there. It's my main man, Reggie. What's going on, Reg?
What's up, Ken? We back.
Yeah. Had a bye week that I think was good for us and good for the players.
Was it? I don't know.
I think it was.
We hope it was good for the players.
Yeah, I mean, normally we look at it and go, if you're in the hunt, you look at it and go, okay, there's an extra week to kind of mend a little bit. Some of the aches and pains you can heal a little bit when it's this late in the season. But I think it was, I kind of think it was a good mental break for the team. If nothing more than just the frustration level was getting a little out of hand, which I'm glad. I'm glad they're frustrated. I want them to kind of channel that frustration in a positive way. But I think it was a good break for them to get away and not have to answer questions for a week. Not have to look at horrible film for a week. I don't know the results are going to be the same, but I think it was.
Look, man,
it helped.
Let me just say this.
Go ahead, man.
It was a good break for the players and the coaching staff, but based on the fact of they've been going since training camp.
Right.
But from a team, the season, the fans, it's not gonna. It doesn't mean anything.
I didn't say that it did.
It's not like
all I'm saying is
I know, but from my perspective,
yeah.
From my perspective, I don't care that they had the break or not, because it's not like we're trying to mend and get ready for the playoff push. For me, it was probably a well-deserved break for the players, the coaches, and their families, just because for the most part they've been going since was it August, in July, August, for training camp into the season, and outside of the Thanksgiving, they've not had a break. So I'm pretty sure it was good for them and their families just to get a little break. But as a fan, as a paying customer, the break did nothing for me other than.
Oh, no, the fans never like to break. The fans themselves, I don't want to break. Instead of 17, give me 18 games.
Oh, no. I'd be cool with the break again if I knew that we were going to take an extra week and get some guys who were nicked up, get them healed up as we go down the stretch of the season and make this push for the playoff. I would have no problem with the late break, the late bye week. But the bye week in this case, from an organization standpoint, it's not going to get us anything. This is just a delay. This is just a delay in the ending of the season for us because it's over.
Yeah, I like I said, I think the players and the coaches were ready for the break from, just like I said, because things have been going so bad. Like, man, I just need some, you just got to walk away from it for a little bit, come back. And I mean, they're still playing for their jobs. I know Ron Rivera and a lot of the coaches know the writing on the wall, but a lot of the players are still, they're putting tape on for the new GM, for the new head coach, for the new owners.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are, if it's not with Washington, they're trying to get a contract somewhere.
Well, like Fred would say, they're individual contractors, right?
Yeah.
But a little bit of buzz that happened, I guess, within the past 24, 48 hours was an interview with Montez Sweat to the local Chicago press. Did you hear about this?
No.
So I don't know the context of the question, but he was basically giving props to the Chicago head coach, because you remember Chicago, for the most part, things going back a few weeks, only had 2 wins or something, right?
Right.
And they've won a few games since then. And Montez's point was giving his flowers and shout out to the coaches and everybody for staying plugged in and not giving up and rallying and kind of getting it together and still competing. And Montez, unprovoked, said, kind of where I was, it was kind of like already looking forward to the season, off season. And of course, Washington fans took it and ran with it. And immediately start blaming all the coaches. See, I told you Ron had lost the locker room, and then of course some people were complaining and saying some bad things about the players. And I even tweeted about it. I said, first of all, he didn't say if it was himself or if he's replying to other players, but Twitter took off and ran with it as if all the players had pretty much checked out. He could have been talking about himself.
Right.
He was already looking forward to the season because he didn't say I or we. He said, where I was, it's like looking forward to the end of the season. So he didn't really clarify who. And I went on and made a point. I said, and let's just assume that he's referring to the players. Everyone is blaming the coaches. How about blame the players who are paid professionals and they've already quit and because they're looking forward to the all season? So why can't they be held accountable? Right. But either way, Montez made this sound bite, and it got people all stirred up and everything. And look, I get it, man. Everybody's looking to blame somebody for what went wrong this season.
And that's what I was getting ready to go to. Yeah,
primarily on the defense, because I think regardless of who you blame for what happened this season, I think most people will point to the defense as being the main culprit as to why this team hasn't been successful. And so to hear Montez talk like that, it just gave the Twitter world and people to just more stuff to keep complaining and going on. And which is another reason why I'm kind of personally, because I'm so looking forward to all the changes that are coming down the pipe in all season. I'm ready to get to the end of the season at this point because I'm ready for get a new GM. I'm ready for get us a new head coach. I'm ready to start trading away or releasing players who no longer going to be part of the futures, who we're bringing in to start building this thing. I'm ready for all of that at this point. I'm tired because this season is done. I'm tired of all of the negativity. We know Quan Martin hadn't played well. We know Emmanuel Forbes hadn't had a great season. We understand the defense can't get a pass rush. We know our offensive line suck. All of these things we're going to talk about continuously over the next 4 weeks. I'm ready to get past that.
Yeah.
And let's move on to the offseason. So this whole thing with Montez and whoever else, whatever former player is going to come out and say something, it's just adding fuel to an already burning fire of this organization.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised, whether it's people that don't get re-signed or get cut, down the road, they'll say stuff. And it's a year where, I mean, obviously we don't have anything to gauge Sam Howell last year versus this year on, but I think if you go across the board, offensively and defensively, to a man, you would have trouble finding anybody that is playing better this year than they were last year.
Agreed.
You go position by position across the defensive line, linebackers, secondary, offensive line, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends. Nobody's playing better. Let's put it that way. Some people might be playing even, but nobody's playing better than they were last year.
Well, if you listen to Ron will tell you that Jamin Davis has had an outstanding year. And I guess this is where you have to know football because it's not showing up in the stat book. But apparently he's playing quicker, faster. He's reading better. He's reacting to. And, I'm going to assume that the tape is not lying. But I will tell you this. It doesn't matter now because he has gone into the all season. He had surgery. Well, he's put on the IR because he's going to have surgery. And listen, man, I haven't seen Jamin Davis balling out this season. But I tell you what, coming off of shoulder surgery for a linebacker, when you're going to be asking the team to pick up your fifth-year option, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting offseason. I guess if you like change,
and I don't,
that's exciting, right?
I don't like. Change.
And normally you like change when things are bad. You don't want change when things are going good. If we're just coming off a Super Bowl and you start changing, coaches and players, you're like, oh man, I don't know if we can put it back together. Well, I don't know if we can be much worse. So you look at change in this scenario as being something positive coming next year.
I'm excited about it. I'm really excited.
Until we get there, I'm interested. I'm really interested. I wouldn't say I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'll let you know the excitement level as I see things play out.
What's your number? What's your number
of excitement?
Yes.
What's my excitement number?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not even going to play the music. This is something where we should play the music for that.
No, don't play the music.
My excitement number right now is a weak 4, maybe a strong 3.
You shouldn't. So you're not registering on the scale. That's all I'm gonna say.
No.
If you're, yeah, I'm at a 7.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to do this.
My interest, I'm up there on my interest. My interest, I'm up there at 7, 8, probably pushing 9, maybe.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
But not excitement. I mean,
but
I'm not going to get excited until I see who's there. I see what their approach is, start seeing some of the moves they make. Just because they make changes, I don't know. I mean, we've made a lot of changes here in 20 years. Results haven't panned out, so we shall see.
Well, as we open this podcast up, we talked about the team being on a bye week, and although we did not play, Washington moved up or moved down closer to the first pick, or moved up.
Moved closer to a better pick, yes.
To a better pick during this bye week with teams that are all bunched up together with us, winning. And with those teams winning, it allowed us to move into a better position, closer to the first pick. I don't know where this thing is going to shake out, but Washington, as of right now, seems to be sitting in the 4th spot.
Right.
And I know we'll get into all of that at a later time, but picking in the 4th spot, we're getting into a territory, or we may already be in a territory where the organization is going to have to ask questions about the quarterback position. Sam has done some great things. Sam has played well. This is where the pros get paid a lot of money to do some scouting. And we all know that it's not an exact science, because there are some guys who fell in the draft that went on to be great players. And there are some guys who were picked in the top 5 and they ended up not being worth a crap.
Right.
But this is where is again one of these things where it's interesting to see how the organization is going to handle the quarterback position, because Sam has played good enough to be in the conversation. Although he's not played well the past few weeks, he's done a lot of good things, at least within the fan base, to be warranted and considered as QB1 going to next season. But with a new GM, new head coach, they may be looking at some of these other guys, because right now, like I said, we're in the 4th spot, and
an unexpected opportunity to pick high.
Absolutely.
That's the key, right? If we were just outside of the playoffs, if we were 8 and 9, and we're picking at 12, 13, it's a lot harder to move up and get one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks. At number 4, you might not have to move up at all. And if you want to move up to 1, 2, or 3, the cost is
minimal compared to
is something that you're able to manage, right? Yes. You give up a 2, a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3, whatever the package ends up being, compared to the package you got to put together to move from number 11 to number 3. That's a big
absolutely
big
absolutely. And the point I'm making here is that we're now in this territory to where now the team has to have conversations about what do you do at the QB position. So again, we were helped during the bye week with some teams winning, and now we've dropped down in the draft order.
Right.
And before this thing is all said and done, man, we could potentially be in the 2nd or 3rd spot. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
but until that happens, we're moving on to week 15 of the season, and Washington will head west to play the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium. What can you tell us about the Rams, Ken?
Well, the Rams are fighting for a playoff spot. We talk about, how we would be coming off a bye week if we were in the playoff hunt, it'd be a break to heal. That's kind of where they're sitting. Not that they're coming off a break, but They are
They're in the
6 and
hunt.
7. Yes, yeah,
They're
they're
in the
6
hunt.
and 7. Um, and they've won two out of the last 3. They lost in overtime last week to Baltimore. So they could have easily, been on a 3-game winning streak. And so if you look at it as a, winning 2 out of 3, they're playing better, right? They're playing better as the season is ending, and they're trying to stay focused and do the right things to make it to the playoffs. They're the opposite story of Washington, right?
Correct.
And kind of going back to what Montez said or how people are trying to interpret it. This isn't just 1 year of Washington struggle, and this is multiple years. And when you get to a certain point after multiple years, Jonathan Allen had a couple comments about his frustration the last couple weeks, and you understand it. I don't want to hear it because I want my star players to. I want to hear nothing. They want to be here, and they're fighting like hell.
Right.
Right.
Right. Even if it's not true, tell me that.
Even if it's not true, right? But he's being real, maybe to a fault, but you understand it.
We all understand.
You understand it. But again, the Rams are on the other side. They are 6 and 7. Their defense is 21st. Washington's obviously is 32nd, and you say, "Oh, that's not a big difference." It is. The difference between the 21st and the 32nd. Washington has given up 105 more points so far this year in that amount. Another 519 yards of offense. So there's a good sized chunk between number 21 and number 32. Sometimes you think it's just a handful. They're in the bottom, bottom third, just like you are. Well, we're in our own category right now this year. But one of the things that from a bad perspective for Washington is the Rams have scored over 30 points the last 3 games. Right, so they're scoring, and they played against Arizona, which you say, okay, that's just Arizona, but then they played Cleveland and Baltimore, 2 probably top 5 defenses.
Yes.
And they hung 30 points on both of them. So, their offense is going to put up some points. And that's not something that, from a Washington perspective, that you want to hear about an explosive offense that's grinding out 30 plus points every game.
Look, man, the Rams is a veteran team, veteran organization. You got a situation where to your point, they're playing better than how they started out the season. So they're peaking at the right time, is what they like to say in the sports world. And despite the fact they're 6 and 7, they could easily be 10 and 3 in terms of the quality of the opponent that we're going to play this week.
Right.
Based on the way they've been playing.
Correct.
So yeah, we're going up against a 6 and 17, but they're not playing like a 6 and 17.
Not right now. Yes.
Not right now. And, Sean McVay being a former coach in Washington, obviously I think, players always want to play well against their former team, and the teammates want to help them play well.
Right.
So no doubt that the team is going to want to do something a little special, a little extra for Sean McVay. Sean McVay has been a coach, I think, for the Rams since 2017, I think. 2017, 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
But either way, this will be his 3rd time facing Washington. He's 1-1. So this will be his 3rd time facing Washington since he's become a head coach. And I think the team is going to try to play well for him. Right now, the Rams are favored. I think the last I checked, they are a 6.5 point favorite in this game, rightfully so. And I'm surprised not more
Absolutely.
than that. I'm surprised not more than that.
Yeah, I'm
But
surprised a little considering it's always harder to travel west. It seems like teams that travel west struggle, even if they win, they struggle consistently, historically. And if it had been in Washington, I could see it being 6.5 points. But for
right.
us traveling to LA, yeah, I'm surprised it's not another 2 or 3 points bigger than that. So
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, I don't think this game is a 6.5. I would take the over if I was a bet man, but I'm not. I'm not. I like to
I
keep
mean,
my money.
we would take it over for just about any point spread right now with Washington. You know,
Agree,
um,
agree.
I mean,
But
if I
again,
told you if I told you it was 11.5, would you take the over still?
probably not. Probably not.
You'd be in the you'd be in the minority on that one.
No.
Because I mean, that means, is Washington going to score if they're going to continue and score 32 points? Is Washington going to score 21 points? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, but I wouldn't take 11 points. Right.
Yeah,
I'd be a little reluctant to do that. But I'm not a gambler, so
right,
this is
right.
this is why I don't gamble because, and certainly I'm probably not a betting man against my own team. Got too much invested for me
Right.
to
Oh, I
to
agree. I
to
agree.
remove my expectations, my biases, and all those types of things. So I certainly would bet Washington, um, but either way, man. So this will be the second game for Ron Rivera calling plays. Um, although we did not look good from a point total against the Miami Dolphins, the people that get paid to watch film claim that Washington looked a whole lot better defensively from a scheme wise, from how players were reacting and responding to certain calls. And it just turns out that Washington, they played 80-90% of the snaps good. And then you give up four big plays, four explosive plays, and all of a sudden you're just giving up 28 points.
Right.
So the point was you take those away, which I know technically you can't, but if you remove the big play, the defense apparently played pretty good based on the film and the tape. So I want to see now that the Rams aren't as explosive as Miami. So I'm curious to see how how the defense is going to look in game 2 for Ron Rivera. Because granted that when Ron took over the play call, he had just fired Jack Del Rio. He had to kind of get his things going and figure out how they were going to do things. A lot of things were changing, a lot of moving parts as the high-powered Miami Dolphins offense was coming to town.
Right.
Now they've had a bye week and now a full week of practice to kind of get things back in order and kind of figure out some things they want to do different. So I'm very curious to see how the defense is going to look against the Rams offense. Matthew Stafford is 13th in the league in passing from a statistics standpoint. And as a whole, their passing offense is ranked 14th in the league. So it's not like the Miami, number 1 in the league,
Right.
but they're still pretty good. They could easily put up some points here. They still have some playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, a la the rookie, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. And of course, they still have the veteran Cooper Kupp. And so the work is cut out. Cooper Kupp and this kid can burn you.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, Sean McVay can find
Creative
obscure wide
ways.
receivers, right? He can find a wide receiver that all of a sudden you're like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
What? Where'd you get him from? Did he even play in college? Because I didn't even hear this guy in college. Whoever the person is. But yeah, Stafford has had. I'm not going to. I mean, I'll kind of say a down year compared to where he's been the last few years. He's got 19 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. That's roughly a 2-to-1 ratio. That's decent. That's not great. His completion percentage is only 60%. So by by your top 10, top 12 quarterbacks. That's low for that. So, clearly they're still scoring 30 points, right? So it's good enough to put the points on. And on
They got
defense,
healthy. They got healthy.
yeah. And defensively, their third down conversion is kind of a challenging point for them, like it has been for Washington. Washington and the Rams are both sitting about the same at about 40%. The opposing team is picking up a first down on third down or third down conversions at a 40% rate. I've talked about this before. You want to be 35 and below, 33 and below. And so they're struggling like Washington is. So don't know if Washington can take advantage of that and extend some drives. But time will tell. Time will tell here.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, man. And you've heard me say this before, Ken, and I know it's not a popular opinion at the bar, but I like to see us play good. If I'm being honest, I like to see us come out and be competitive. I don't want to see a game that's blown out. But at the end of the day, I'm fine with us losing this game,
Yeah.
right? Us winning does nothing other
Right.
than make a couple people feel good.
Yeah.
And maybe some players will probably feel pretty good about going into the next game against, I think, the Jets. But from a big picture perspective, yeah, they didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
I'm not.
You screwed the bye week. You
Yeah. I'm
screwed the
not
bye
really
week.
worried about wins and losses. Honestly, I want Washington. Not that they're going to do it. I want all the young players to be in. Right. If you're the second string player, but you're under 25 years old, I want you in playing the rest of the year. I want to see what I have. I know it's the next regime, but I want to see what we have. I want to see that's four games of experience for the guy who's been second string. Just because the guy is better than you, but how much better? Is he just a little bit better? And if the young kid got these 4 games and another offseason of practice and training camp, maybe they're better next year, right? And so
I,
that's what I know that's asking too much. I want to see my young players. I want to see Sam Howell. I want to see Jahan. I want to see the young safeties, the young cornerbacks. If you're healthy and you're playing, I want to see the young guys in and learning, right? Even if you get burnt, even if you make a mistake, I want to see you learn. So
agreed. I'm gonna bold prediction for you, Ken.
How bold is this?
Not very bold,
Okay.
but I'm gonna say this. If we lose this game next week, I think the last 3 weeks of the season will probably be just that. I think you'll see a lot of young guys playing. I don't think. I think Ron not waving the white flag is not the right thing here, but I think they will probably do some evaluation, so get some of the younger guys in, and you'd probably start seeing some guys play that didn't get a lot of PT during the season.
Well, you might. I mean, you might have somebody like Payne and Allen that come up with, "Oops, I got a slight pull on my hamstring."
Yeah,
Right?
it'll
I
be those
can't play.
types of things, right?
Yeah.
They're nicked up, they're not injured, they're a little dinged up, and it's like, you know what, we'll just hold them out the game. It's
Right.
absolutely they'll
Keep
show
keep
up on
keep
the
'em
injury
keep 'em
report.
so there's not a Kyler Murray type of injury the last couple of weeks
Yep.
that mess up for next season. So, and to a degree, I'm okay with it. But again, I want to see my young young
The
players.
people that care won't be able to say you're tanking. It'll be called quote unquote evaluating the young talent,
And that's
aka
fine. And that's fine. Well,
aka
that's what they did Sam
tanking,
Howell
baby.
last year, right? Uh,
Yeah,
and look what it did for him,
it's tanking.
right? But everybody thought that we were tanking against Dallas last year, and Sam Howell came out and
We won.
got himself a opportunity at a starting role. I mean, granted, they had seen him. It wasn't just that one game. They saw him in practice. But until in live action, you're like, okay, yeah, what we saw in practice is legit here. Let's see what we go with. I'm not trying to get to the confidence level here, but what would you think that a couple things that Washington has to do? And I'm not going to even say to win. I'm going to say to be in it in the last 5 or 7 minutes of this game, right? Against Miami, we didn't realistically think that we were going to be in the game in the fourth quarter.
No, I had it over. I had it over at halftime.
Correct. But on this one, what do you think if you had to pick a couple things that Washington needs to do to be in the game? And that's what I want as a fan, right? I want to be in it 5-7 minutes left. And if we end up losing because they're a better team, I can live with it at this point.
I'll keep it simple and give you one thing. If we're going to have a chance and be in this game on Sunday and be competitive to appease everybody, the people that want to look good and play well, and the people that want to look good and play well and lose this game, I think the one thing that needs to happen is our offense needs to get back to being the offense that it was early to midway in the season. And what that looked like was a lot of passes. I said this a few weeks ago. I don't know what changed, but the offense looks totally different. The way Eric Bieniemy calls the game. I mean, we saw it on Thanksgiving. We saw it before that. It's like we decided we don't want to throw 40 times a game. We want to run 25 and throw just 30. And so the offense looks very vanilla and stagnant. So I don't know that I want Sam throwing the ball 45, 50 times, but I need to see the passing game get back to being somewhat efficient, where Sam was putting up 250, 300 yards in a game. And he can do that without throwing the ball 50 times. But if our offense looks proficient and looks like the NFL offense that we saw early in the season, then I think you'll get the chance and the opportunity to upset the Rams.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I have seen the last few weeks, talking about the running backs, is the expanded use of B-Rob and throwing the ball to him. Yes. I talked about this last season as the season was starting, because we saw how well he was doing in preseason and training camp. And I'm like, for somebody who didn't catch a lot out of the backfield in Alabama, the skill set is 100% there and just wasn't being used. And then we saw it in the preseason 2 preseasons ago, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be good. And Turner never used it, and up until a few weeks ago, Bieniemy wasn't using it very much. And now everybody realizes there's a weapon there. So I don't disagree that we need to get somewhat back to where we were. I like that we're running the ball, but let's do it strategically, right?
Yeah.
I think getting Terry involved, you got to have your best players involved offensively right now. Our best players are probably Sam Howell, Terry, and B-Rob. Those 3 players need to be involved. On a regular basis. They all need to be touching the ball. Sam, you can't throw another pick 6, right? You can't be giving away points, even if it's just, you can't throw bad interceptions, right? Let's just go with that. If it's tipped at the line and it's intercepted, that's not on Sam. I mean, unless the guy's right in your face and you're forcing it.
But those sacks are down, though.
What's that?
The sacks are down.
They are. Yeah. Sam's throwing the ball away a little bit. I mean, there are positive things, even though, again, it's what you're measuring it against, and who you're looking to see. From what growth perspective are you looking at? But yeah, I agree. I think offensively, my concerns of us being in the game are more offensively, even though we got the worst defense out there. If we can do the things offensively of not making mistakes to give up, very short yardage or pick six type of plays or fumble, somebody picks it up and runs it for a touchdown. If we can avoid those and just call a strategic game, mix it up, have Sam rolling out a little bit more.
Well, again, that's why I said I think if the offense can get back to looking more like the offense we saw early in the season, that was productive, 25, 35 points type of offense. He spread the ball around, whether that's the
Right.
chair, whoever, but just looking like a offense, then I think you'll see a different Washington team and a chance to upset the Rams.
Yeah.
Um, in this game, but that's a big if.
It is.
I
It
will
is.
I will say that I'm actually excited for the fact that Sam is probably not going unless they revert the offensive line just craps the bed and goes back to the offensive line that we saw early on. It doesn't look like he's going to break that record, and I really did not want him to break that record.
Oh
I think
no,
the
no.
record. I think the record is 72, and right now he's sitting at 58.
Yeah.
So that puts him about I don't know. I can't do the quick dirty math on that, but last I checked, whatever the number was, he was about 18 sacks away from catching that record. And over the next 4 weeks, that's about averaging about, whatever game. But I don't think he's going to get that record. So,
Yeah.
again, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and there's the record was set with 16 games. Now they got 17 games, so a little bit harder or a little bit easier to get that record if you're giving up a lot of sacks. But Reg, I think it's that time.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And it's that time. What's your name? What's your number? We're struggling this year, obviously, this part of the season, but I'm interested in where your number is going to be on this. I'm not expecting you to be at any kind of 5 or above, but I'm curious on whether it's somewhere at a 4 or a 1, a 0. I'm gonna let you go first, Reg.
Curiosity is so great that you couldn't wait, huh?
I'm on pins and needles, man.
All right, man. Well, without further ado, man. We talked about a little bit earlier with the team coming off the bye. I do believe that it would be it has been refreshing and probably great for the players and the staff to be coming off a bye week, to finally get that bye week to be coming off of it. I have personally said that, winning at this point doesn't do us any good. But I do not believe that players play not to win, because these guys are playing for jobs. They don't want to put bad film out there for other teams to look at. So players aren't really interested in tanking. So I do believe with a refreshed bodies, refreshed mind to kind of go in this last quarter of the season, I think the players will play hard. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I do think that what you will see at some point is they will remove the veteran star players, your starters, and probably playing some of your backup guys. And that's how you lose without tanking, if you will.
Right.
But with that being said, I believe, with all that said, the refreshing and the rejuvenation of players and the staff and organization, and I think they're going to probably I suspect the team will look as good as they have. When I went back and looked, was probably week 8 when we lost that home game to Philly.
Okay.
Because ever since then, the offense has been putrid. It has been terrible.
Right.
But I think the offense is going to look probably about as good against this Rams team as they did since week 8. But at the end of the day, Ken, we're not a very good team. So I think we lose this game.
Okay.
And my confidence level is at a 4.
A 4. Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure how high or low your 4 was, where you were going to be. And
Does that surprise you though?
No, but I thought that maybe Reggie gave up all hope on the team. Not
I'm giving it a 4, Ken. That's not a lot of hope, brother.
Well, compared to a 0 or a 1 or a 2, that was where we were last week, right? I'm also at a 4. I think we can be in this game. I think we can there might be a time in the second quarter, third quarter where we maybe we score and tie it up, and we look at each other and go, where's this team been all year? Right? Why haven't we been playing like that all year? I think in the end we do end up losing. But the Rams could have a bad game. We have sat there and watched Washington, not so much this year, but in past years, where we play a team that's not as good as us and we just make a mistake. You make a mistake, and you're like, how are we letting this team in the game? And if the Rams do that, Washington may end up keeping it close. In the end, I think we lose. But my confidence level is at a 4. That's not high, but it's not disastrous either. So
it's just that slim possibility that this team shows up. And although the Rams are trending upward, they're beatable, right? They're one of those teams that are on the outside looking in. They're going to probably have to try to run the table. I mean, so they're a better team than Washington, but they're not a great team. And so that kind of evens the playing field a little bit. And if this team gets back to playing, as I pointed out, the way they were in the early part of the season, there's a possibility they can win this game. And that's why I gave it a little higher numbers of 4. That's not very confident, but it's higher than what the numbers have been the past few weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah. Without a doubt. But with that being said, we'll see how the game goes. Reach out to us on Twitter. You can catch us at Two Knuckleheads. That's DA 2 Knuckleheads. Reggie runs most of that. He'll throw something my way and say, "Oh, did you hear this person said this?" Or "We got a new listener," or whatever it is. Hit us up on Twitter. That's probably the best way to get hold of us. Anything else you got, Reggie?
That's it, man. Let's go out to LA and see what we can do.
All right. Till the next, I guess we'll do the post game, but until then, peace out, Knuckleheads.
Peace out, y'all.